Hey there, you are tuning into part 2 of a collective masculine and feminine reading, and also exploring the energies within. We're just doing a deep dive on kind of what the energies are that are present, and I, of course, always set the intention that I am doing this reading in the actual physical time that I'm doing it, but whenever you receive this video is when this most applies for you. So we're doing most the masculine and the feminine components. As well as the third energy. We just did part 1 of the reading where we connected with the dragon oracle, the animal oracle, and the plant medicine oracle. Now we're going to get more into the nitty gritty of the individuals and how this is showing up individually. All right. I'm really excited to be doing these readings because they help me quite a bit in understanding kind of how to engage both with my own internal process, but also the external as different people are showing up and doing these works. And tuning with those energies is extraordinarily helpful. So I'm doing something a little different than usual, and I'm interesting. I'm drawing all the cards before I start reading them. And yeah, I'm very curious as to what's coming up for everybody right now. There's, please always feel free to put stuff in the comments. If things are resonating with you, I love to hear how and why, because that helps, the more we share our stories, the more we're understanding more from each other. So that's what I'm kind of open to engaging with. Okay. I get a clarification card on that. Great. Okay. Wow, we've got a lot of repeats and very similar energies coming up, which is fascinating. And we're going to draw a lot more for that. Yes. Okay. All right, what is this going to be? All right, so we're going to start off with the feminine here with the 8 of Wands. All right, what I see in this card, so this is the inner child journey. So this is always a message from the inner child. So this is like a real yearning that kind of comes about, is what I'm feeling from this card, particularly today. And it's an invitation to re-engage. Okay, so this 8 of Wands for the feminine, it's to me it feels very celebratory of these like summer camp type energies of being together in community with a shared purpose, with a shared desire to be in nature, to do ritual together. Whether it's your covens or just being together with other families or couples. It's this invitation to really come back to that playfulness. Playfulness. That was a weird way to say that. So what I hear here with this owl too is like there's a lot of wisdom in the ways that we played as children. A lot of people, when they start doing really deep inner child work, and maybe I'll do a meditation for this. I'm very strongly engaged with my inner child. I work as a comedian and as a playwright, kind of a playwright, I guess. I create my own stories. I'm a generative artist. And in what I've learned through doing this work is like, I was doing the same thing when I was a kid, and I knew as a kid that I was developing a long-term skill. Now, I'm not a master at it by any means, but I love to play and I love to get other people to play. Now, there's a wounded component of me that engages with that at times too, of like, oh, no one wants to play with me, and or they don't want to play my way. And so there's still medicine and there's pieces to like, how do I integrate like this more collaborative component, so that we're all contributing to the same fire and we're warming ourselves from the same flame. All right. So what comes up for the masculine from his inner child is the fairy godmother. It is the priestess, the high priestess here. So I'm getting a lot of energies of the moon and intuition coming of this. So I feel like there's an invitation from the inner child to the masculine component of coming back into that softness of the dreams, of the visions, of the magic, right? I think that women, we tend not even so. I think it's less likely for a woman to stop believing in the magic and to stop having hope and faith than it is for the masculine. And you see this a lot of like, a lot of men find a woman who's religious and then become religious, or, you know, then follow her like within the spiritual path, you know, but they're always kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's much more rare to find the masculine components who trust in the process of the universe, of the bigger energies at play. And then they play this back and forth game with that. Now, what I'm loving about this fairy godmother too is like it does feel an invitation of like dreams can come true. You don't have to stop at the wish. You don't have to stop at the desire or the want. Anything is possible in merging and alchemicalizing. There's a castle in the clouds here. And we're also seeing the manifestation of like the wagon coming to being. There's a lot to tie with this, with the moon card. We are, as I record this video, I'm posting it a little bit later, but I'm recording it on the new moon, in June, 2025. And, you know, I'm really feeling the energies with this moon to be, they're kind of like upsetting that. It's like I felt like we dropped into some of that deeper place of dreams and visions and writing a good story and, you know, coming together into the co-creative component of this, while we also we started to get we're like a little lost from it. So the invitation is to try to come back to that. Oh, hilarious. I wasn't even like cognitively aware. So this is the moon card that's next, and later in the reading, the moon appears again. Okay, so the fact that I'm getting the moon, and there's a lot of moon energy for the masculine. So what this tells me for them is that there is a deeper unconscious process, and maybe it's conscious for some of them, that's kind of going on, right? So the tie between these cards is the wish being made and then the recipient of the wish. So the third energy of these inner children. And I also like even dare that like all these wands, you know, like I said that, you know, that we're all pointing our, how did I articulate it? That we're, you know, we want to make sure that we're all nourishing the same flame. And I feel like this fairy godmother is like what comes of this flame is like, you know, these dreams and things come true. Now, you know, we have this huge moon in this card, you know, there's the receiving of this beautiful dress that's coming down, and it's after a lot of prayers and offering. Now this also ties back to our other reading where the feminine, you know, got the rabbit. The rabbit is in this card once again. I'm also feeling like the cultivation of this black dragon from that past reading as well coming forth. All right, so this component of the sun and the moon and the surrender. I haven't seen this card in a long time, and I really love that she's just like barefoot underneath her wishing tree, you know, the grave, like there's so much like the release of grief, the surrender to the process. Like in this particular version of the moon card, which is Cinderella, you know, like we're getting the full spectrum of existence, right? It's just like, yeah, you have the grief, you have the longing, you have the sorrow, and then you have the ability to see the manifestation of these dreams coming true. Now, again, I am posting this video a little bit after this new moon. However, it will be on our way to the full moon at this time. So I'm wondering that if this is that middle ground of why, you know, you guys will be viewing it, this video at this time or whenever you view it. But it's this middle ground between the new and the full moon, right? Like you set the intentions for what it is that you want to cultivate, all right, at the new moon. And then during the full moon, you know, you start doing the work of what it is that you want to that you need to release to receive it. And sometimes that all happens instantaneously, or sometimes that period, you know, like it's whenever we get the intention to set a wish, we also have to do the work around the wish to what is it actually that we're cultivating next. So I'm really loving this Cinderella card. I'm loving this gift that's coming down, that's raining forth. There's a lot of magical birds. Yeah, and I think that from the past reading too, this is really symbolic of like the death of the fear, right? It's, you know, if you have the fear, do it anyway, is a huge invitation in that realm. And I will have posted a poem, or there will be a poem posted soon that's an alchemical poem that's also an invitation. of leaning into your fears. Feel the fear and do it anyway. If you have the fear, do it anyway. We have to get to the point where we're being courageous enough every day to being like, wow, I'm uncomfortable. This thing is coming up, but we still have to transmute it. Okay, so next up so that was our inner child. Now we're moving into the energies of our inner reality, okay? So this is going to be some of our inner processing with the masculine and feminine dynamics. So for the feminine, the Six of Cups comes up. Now this is a card of a lot of nostalgia, which ties in again to what I was saying with this Eight of Wands, with like the summer camp energy. And, you know, sometimes this card can be getting lost in the nostalgia of the better times. But I really feel that for the invitation, it's almost that's going forth, and the inner work that goes along with it. It's almost an invitation to further deepen into the healthy patterns of the inner child and the inner past. I know for me, there's a lot of just like road tripping and frolicking and being in nature and being one with nature. All right. For some, it might be getting lost in a good book or writing a play or whatever it is, these whimsical things. You know, this is a very Alice in Wonderland type card of just getting kind of lost in the whimsical reality. And I think that there's an invitation for that to move forward, because we are in the process of manifesting new earth, right? And that doesn't happen overnight. Like, you don't move, you know, like the process of moving takes time. Usually there's the packing of the boxes in the old house. There's, you know, the finding the new place to go. And then there's the moving into the new house. Okay. Now this is a big metaphor lately. And I think it's alive for me because I listen to Harmonious Hearts, Danielle, who's on YouTube. She's a really great channel of the masculine and feminine energies. She brings forth slightly, she has a different energy than what I'm bringing forth, but it's all a part of the same whole, right? And you've got to just find who resonates with you. So what I love about the message she brings through with this, you know, new house, old house, is like sometimes we're still in the process of moving, you know, and sometimes we get into the new space and we immediately miss the old space, or sometimes we're in the new space and we're like, man, those days. You know, I used to live in a school bus conversion before I lived in this house, and there's a lot of things that I miss about the simplicity of bus life. There's a lot of ways I glorify that simplicity, because it was hard at the time. I had to chop all my own wood to stay warm, and you know, there were all these layers and pieces. But the beauty of you know, getting lost in kind of the vision. Oh, and look at this toss back here. We have the owl again looking over this process. So there's the wisdom in the review of the nostalgic things. There's also the wisdom in the review of what are patterns and what is purpose. All right. That's been a huge contemplation for me lately. And, you know, and simple, the patterns are unconscious. The purpose is engaged. And, you know, as you move with the purpose, it grows and evolves in a way that you have more, not even necessarily control of, but you're surrendered to the process and how that grows. That's why we're on earth. We're here for the process, not necessarily for the manifestation of all things. I teach kids how to create their own things, and I always am like, this is what you make it. Your character will be as big and bold as it makes sense and as you step forward to be in it. This story will have as many layers as you choose to put in it. All right? So we are in charge of the richness of our experiences. Now, again, the masculine the masculine area came out with 2 cards. Okay, and, you know, this has happened a couple times in readings lately. And so what I'm really seeing, there's a lot of components going on for the masculine. This is not a light time for them, although externally it might appear that way. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is we have the Judgment card, which just came up in a shorter reading that I did before this, all right? So again, it's like this, but all of these animals are very empowered. And also we've had these animals come up in the readings, right? We've got the owl, we've got the raven, we've got the rabbit. All right. We've got the fox. Okay. So literally all of the animals stepping forth in our cards today are also reflected within this dynamic. You know, other energies that we can tune in with that we haven't talked about, you know, you have the wisdom. and the perspective of hawk, the rebirth of bat, the gathering and the, foresight of the squirrel, the aggressive healer of the badger medicine, the cleansing of the toad, the playfulness of the porcupine, all right, the gentleness of deer, and the introspection of bear. Now, I bring all of those animal medicines forth in this conversation because what I feel this time in reading this card for the masculine is there's an informed judgment, right? So with a judgment card, there's always, we have to check being like, am I projecting judgment? Am I projecting story? Am I projecting things that aren't truth? Am I doing that onto another? Am I doing that for myself? And what is truth? What I love about all of these animals is they're all empowered. They are a part of a council. They are working together. And the judgment is actually just about aligning deeper with the truth. It's not about projecting something of needing the change. It's about aligning with the change. It's not forcing change. It's being present with this thing. Now, in the same regard, it's there's the invitation. I think I'm getting so much around this. There's the invitation within the masculine of no longer judging themselves for the choices that they've made in the past. It's also going on within the masculine not to judge the feminine for the ways that she's stepping forth and bridging these realities, and bridging the truths. It's almost like, and again, this is what was mirrored in the inner child cards with these, right? It's like, the feminine is cultivating the flame. She's cultivating the intention. She's cultivating the desire to move forward. And the masculine is starting to understand and value that wish. And the shared energy is this invitation of the wishes coming true. So internally, and this gets us, less out of the inner child realm and into the present things, as she does this bridging work of, what of the old comes forward into the new and what doesn't at all, and not from a place of judgment, but from a place of true understanding and of wisdom and of collecting of what is smart. I was talking with someone about my partner, my current reflection of the divine masculine, and we were talking about childbirth. And he brought forth all of these different fears, some that were quite absurd to me. And then as I read, to be like, where did he find this on the internet, or how did this get into his consciousness? I found a video about a woman who gave birth in the ocean, because my partner was like, an ocean birth would be really wild. That would be really cool. And I'm just like, that's not sanitary. I'm visualizing both being at the edge of the sea, trying to hold myself in the waves while trying to push a fucking baby out of my vagina. That's a lot of work and a lot of elements going on. Very wild. I'm sure that would be a pretty psychedelic experience. And then I'm also picturing just being in the middle of the sea, giving birth, trying to stay afloat and fending off sharks, because that's how absurd that thing. But then I found this post, and the woman this was a viral video a couple years ago, but the woman in the video was just like, I wanted to feel like my most wild self. And it's a picture of her giving birth in the waves coming and going and having the baby, and then her partner comes and catches the placenta. And that's pretty amazing. That's too far for me. It might be the right fit for some, but I'm just that's a lot of sand that can get trapped in the yoni and the baby's eyes. There's a lot of bacteria in the ocean water. It is not a very sterile environment, but a birthing tub or what could that look like for me? So I think that, and there's a full spectrum of things, and everybody is choosing the things that are right for them at that right time, and as we get into more of the collaborative energies, and especially the dynamic between the masculine and the feminine, it's how can the masculine continue to open up to the feminine's perspective and to the vision she's bringing down. And I am a huge component of this. Women carry all of the potential life within their womb, and their mothers carried it before them. Their grandmothers, all of these eggs inside of me are ancient, and not ancient enough to be fertilized, but they contain all of this ancient wisdom. And as I grow and change, so does the energy within these eggs, right? But I hold every child that I could ever birth already inside of me. And every month I release one, that could be born. So I'm holding the vision. I'm literally wired to hold the vision within my body, but I need that sacred presence of the masculine to bring it forth, okay? And I trust that sacred presence of the masculine within his timing. And I think part of the healing that's going on in the trepidation, which is this next card, which is the Knight of Pentacles, okay? So the Knight of Pentacles is proceeding, but is proceeding with caution, all right? And so what I feel forward is, like, the role of the feminine right now is to communicate also with caution and precision of how do we speak to where we've been and where we are going while remaining fully in the present, knowing that anything can shift and change. How can we trust the masculine in his divine timing of showing up for this? Okay. So, you know, those are kind of the messages. Now, again, we get the Nine of Visions. Okay. The Nine of Cups. This is wishes coming true, right? I frequently read this card as wishes coming true, and you know, it is the wish has been made, and it's in the process of being granted. All right, so I love that the moon that was kind of the message we got from this moon card, is this balance of giving and receiving. I also love that in both of these cards, there is a balance between worlds, right? It feels like a balance of heaven and earth, of sky and earth, of masculine and feminine, of the higher and the lower, as above, so below. This really feels like a merging, and in both of these cards, you know, the wish is coming down and forward. This really shows me that things are being physicalized, that things are coming into being, okay? So next we're going to see how this is viewed externally, and I'm gonna, this might be a 4-part video, y'all. I'm gonna pause the video there and immediately start it again, because there's more that I want to continue to flow into after this. So here we go. Tune in to video part 3, where we're gonna see the external, how all of this is impacted in the external, and the external with the masculine and feminine. Squeeze.